So in the name of being very specific and full disclosure, I will walk you through this build as I am doing it. So I'm going to take this 1x4 furring strip, which is right around 3/4 of an inch thick and right around 3.5 inches wide. It's sold as a 1x4 furring strip. So you need 24 inches. And so I'm going to mark, and we're going to go a little bit over 24 inches because with trimming and shaping and any other little imperfections or necessities, then I'm going to have to do some trimming. So here we go. Alrighty. So, now let's head back over to the workbench. Bring this with us. Collapse the tripod a little bit. Alright, elevator going down. Alright, so are you situated? Let me grab my... That's the square end. And I've got some knots and things showing on the face. Got some knots and things showing on the back. So, which knots do I want to have? That will undress that up with some glue. Okay, so that one's going to get cut out. Alright, so here we go. Let me grab my tools. The tape measure. You might need that from time to time, but a good flat ruler will be of a lot of use to you. So I use this one. So your critical measurements. Of course, grab your Raptor square and go find out what your material is. Alright, so we're about right at 3.5. So you want to scribe a little line here, mark your center there. You're going to work off of the same side of your material. And you're going to mark your line here. Now, probably is not necessary to mark this center line, but it's something I always do. And it is a very general thing to do. And then you're going to come down Right. From the top of your board, and you'll see in a minute, a large portion of that knot is just going to get cut off. You're going to come down 4 inches, and from your bottom, your bridge is going to be set at just a hair more than 2 3/4 inches. So about right there. And then before you get too far, I always like to just what I call catching up my measurements. Is, you know, I'll measure and mark, and then I like to come back in with my square. And anything that is a hard measurement, I like to go ahead and make a big line that's hard for me to ignore. So, all right. This is important. This is our bridge. This is, I'm just going to make a little rectangle there, and that's going to be the nut. And I did tell you it only needs to be about 7/8 of an inch wide. You can round it up to an inch. It's not going to be that critical. But, you know, the width that is. And your strings are, probably want to set them about 1/4 inch apart. And, because if you got stubby little hard to control fingers like me, then you're going to be trying to note this thing, and it'll be easier on you if you're kind of planned ahead. So, how wide did it say? All right. So yeah, you're going to come in off of your line up here. You're going to come in about 1 1/4 inches. And back here, you're going to come in about 1 1/4 inches. And then I'm go ahead and so this is where you're at. Now, I'm going to make a suggestion that you come in about half the distance, and you make your first peg hole about 1 inch, and then your next peg hole about center and 1 inch, and then make sure you're a 1/4 inch in from the line here, and about 1 inch from your last peg hole. And then I've decided that I'm going to make my peg holes 1/4 inch. And, you know, for material this thickness, the peg hole being about 1/3 of the thickness is going to give plenty of gripping surface so that it holds your tune. And the instrument will be tuned, they recommended GGG, and that way you have a melody string and 2 drone strings, and that way you'll be able to have your instrument in tune with itself and musically equivalent. So here's where we are, and on here I measured the scale out in 1 inch increments, but that is wrong. If you look at the article, on Cigar Box Nation, Shane Speal has taken the liberty of giving you the measurements for the fretboard, which will make your life easier. Alright, so your scale length is 17 3/8 inches, and that is from the nut to the bridge. And so we're just about right there. A little proud, but the nut will take care of that. So for right now, I'm going to go ahead and draw in my fretboard. With a light little line on both sides. Alright. And now the math here, if you're trying to do the math, this is one of them left-handed rulers. You need to come down you need to come down about 12 7/8 and make your mark. Let me turn the camera so you can see. Here I measure down, and I'm measuring from the approximated center, 12 7/8, and you're going to call that the. And I've even marked mine to say the end of the fretboard. So 12 7/8. Always measure twice more, and I don't even have a saw in my hand. Alright, and on our workpiece, I'm going to go ahead and mark end of fretboard. Now, from your bridge to the end of your fretboard is on or about 4 5/8. Now, if you're following me so far, let me throw you a wrench. I need my square. So we're gonna bring over our bridge line to the side, and we're going to bring over. You can scribe this line. It's not going to make any kind of difference. You just want to sand those out when it comes time. And then just make small dot at places where you need to line things up. So think you see what I did back here. Yeah. So on the back, you see we're going to take our router or chisels in a router plane, however you desire, and we're going to make a little pocket here, and that will chamber this body between the bridge and the end of the fretboard, and I'm going to go 6 inches. I don't know how long it was on the original. On the original it says 8, so I actually need to correct that myself. Let me go ahead and make my, all right, made my bridge line. Let me go up here 8 inches. It seems like a lot to me, but all right. And by chambering the body, what you're going to do effectively is give yourself a, let's see here, let me come in 1/2 inch off each side. Do that same thing down here. And essentially that's going to keep you honest with yourself. And you want to know why you want to be honest with yourself? Well, you're chambering a big hole in a small board. It's not deep or wide. And I'm using this old soda can because I didn't pick up after myself after the live the other night. So I'm gonna make sure we're roughly between the lines. Set that out of the way. All right. So just discount my poor tracing. And even this isn't necessary because I'll just trim around with the router anyway. But you're chambering out this body. Let me, yep, we're right at 3/4. I'm going to chamber it I'm going to route at a depth of 1/2 inch and give myself a 1/4 inch thick top, and that'll be our soundboard. You could go thinner than that, but because this is a furring strip and I have notoriously bad luck with pine, I am not going to tempt fate. So the first operation I'm going to do is we'll go over to the bandsaw and I will take these, for lack of a better term, these ears off of this, and that way we'll have our headstock at 1 inch wide, and these little guys can just come off and then they can be some other project. A whistle is what comes to mind. Not sure how that'll work, but I make whistles out of a lot of stuff, so we'll see. All right, so let me just double check my measurements. 1 inch there, 1 inch there, and always got one. And this sound hole should be here. And I'll put a line through that. And I'll go 1/4, 1/4, and 1/4. 1/4. All right, so we'll step away and I'll get set up and bring you over to the bandsaw. So in my break while I was away, it's later in the afternoon. This morning had some running around to do that I had forgotten about until it was time to move the camera. So it occurred to me that the lines that I've drawn here might be a little hard for you to see while I am working on the piece. So if you'll bear with me long enough for me to go ahead and draw these lines on an ink versus pencil, then I'll go ahead and it'll be easier for you to see the project piece. So just bear with me one moment and I'll go ahead and do that. Hey you all, if you want to get in on this Plank Dulcimer challenge, it'll be our first project of 2026. I'd like to do a challenge every month. I don't know if that'll happen. But the Soldier Farms Plank Dulcimer Challenge begins January 5th, 2026. The brief is build a plank dulcimer based on the Hee-Haw plank from 1976. I will link information, an article by Shane Speal on in the description of the video. I'll also put it on my community page, and you know there will either be a file there you can download or you know some links. So the rules of the challenge are fairly simple and straightforward. You must begin with a board, either a single piece or a glue up, any wood that you want to use, no larger and no smaller than 24 inches in length, 3.5 inches wide, and 3/4 of an inch thick, you know, 1x4. So your dulcimer must have 3 strings, a fretboard, a nut, a bridge, a tailpiece, must be fretted and tuned. Number 3, a chambered body is optional. Electronics or not, we're not getting into electronics. It's an acoustic instrument. So you may use commercial strings, but no tuning machines. Make your tuners. Either make tuning pegs like I am, use some eye bolts, eye screws. I've even seen it done with cup hooks. It's very interesting. So then you're to enter, comment your channel name under the hashtag SFplankchallenge. Number 6, video reveal must be received no later than January 16th, 2026 at 11:59 p.m. And that's all the way across the country. So if you live in California, yours is due at midnight for you. If you live in Nova Scotia, well, your entry is due at midnight for you. So your string gauges, you're going to have a melody string, which is a .012, a middle .014, and a bass string .024. These are very light gauges. It's a dulcimer. It'll be twangy. So that's only a suggestions, but please review the attached article, and there are a couple of videos on the subject instrument, and I look forward to seeing all of your entries. And it's a challenge. I'll see if I can come up with some prizes. Thank you.
Well, the chips fly light in the morning shade, hand-cut boards and a pocket knife blade. From a holler where the pines stand tall, they sand each edge. sign every hall. Soldier Farms wood shop, built by hand, little bit of sawdust in every plan. If you like things made the slow, true way, find Soldier Farms wood shop when you shop today.